Everybody, thank you for joining me on this wonderful Wednesday evening, guys. I do appreciate everybody that follows along on the show. So here we are, hump day, middle of the week. Always a good reason to smile because you got 2 days until the weekend. So I know for some people the days are just running together, but for those of us who still kind of maintain a normal sort of schedule, it's the middle of the week, so let's get ready to celebrate. And before we start going into talking about this evening's guest, let's go ahead and cover all the particulars like we usually do. So, guys, if this is your first time following the show, we are streaming live on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, on LinkedIn Live. So. Guys, if you're checking us out on our YouTube channel, man, please do us a favor. Hit the like and subscribe button. We are trying to build our viewership there. And the more subscribers we get, the more ability we get to do things. There's a lot of things that I would like to do with my YouTube channel. So I'm trying to really concentrate on building that up whenever I get the chance to. So hit the like and subscribe button. Click the notifications. It'll let you know whenever we do go live or whenever we do drop new content on there. So thank you so much for watching there. And it is our YouTube channel is the Made from Scratch broadcast there. So you can find us there. Just type that into the search engine, Made from Scratch broadcast. And it should pull up and you'll see, of course, my smiling face on there. And you can follow and subscribe there. And then we're also streaming live on Facebook. So you can catch us on our Facebook page, or you can find me if you're connected through my profile. So connect with me if you guys want to be able to catch the show live on my profile page. It's Gabriel Leal. You can catch me there. And, of course, you can also check us out at our Facebook page, and that is Made from Scratch broadcast as well. So we are streaming live there. We are able to interact with comments and questions. So drop in a comment, a question you might have for tonight's guest, or you just might want to ask me, and we will interact as we go along. And in second, we are streaming live via Periscope on Twitter. So you can also check us out, guys, on Twitter as well. You can drop your comments in there, and I try to respond to them as much as I possibly can while we're doing the show. So I always love comments that come in, and we can always pull them on screen. We can interact with them that way. And of course, we are streaming live on LinkedIn. So, guys, if you're watching on LinkedIn, do us a favor, drop in the comments there and let everyone know that you're watching along. So we already have people, watching along. So that's awesome. So, Jonathan, thank you. Karen, thank you for joining along. I do appreciate that very much. And, you can also check us out at our website, and that's it, www.madefromscratchpodcast. There you can always catch our past episodes. You can catch our internet radio station there and our podcast form of the show. Links there that lead you to Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts as well. So check us out there, guys. I do appreciate you joining along. So now we got all the necessary essentials out of the way. Let's get talking about this evening's guest. So, guys, he has started his journey into social media, and he's trying to go out there and share his message about what he wants to do to help other people feel inspired and kind of change the environment that we live in the world that we live in, by sharing his messages of hope and faith and positivity. So, I wanted to have him on the show because, again, he's really got a really great message, and he's really starting his step outside of his normal boundaries and get his message out there. And I'm always telling people, hey, you want to come on here and share your message, and you have something that you want to get out there and start doing. And if I can help you start on that journey, I feel privileged to have the opportunity to do that. So, guys, do me a favor and give a big welcome to my guest this evening. Welcome him to the show, David Munford. So, David, how are you doing, my friend?
Hey, I'm good.
Right?
I'm good.
We are here. So, we kind of we kind of connected through the same channels that I've had a lot of other people and guests on my show, and that's through Russ Johns and his program. So seeing that I'm a big advocate of what he talks about and what he shares and the message that he has and the people that he brings on, I find it so awesome that I get to communicate a lot with that community that he's built, and it's a lot of wonderful, caring people that are in there in that group that want to help other people kind of share and grow. So, that's kind of like how we got introduced. And then you said you wanted to come on and we wanted to start talking about who you are, what your message has been, and what you want to share with people. So, let's start a little bit by kind of introducing yourself to everybody who's unfamiliar with David Munford. Just kind of give us a brief overview of how you started your journey and what's kind of led you to this point.
My journey started, I guess, growing up. I was always in church. My parents had me in church all the time. Was always in church. Always did the right thing. Always had a relationship with God. 2005, I try not to cry on here, but 2005, I stepped away from everything, from my faith.
Yeah.
I put because walk by faith. That could not have been a better topic for tonight, because that's exactly what I've had to do. And I stepped away from my faith for 5 years, and when I stepped away from my faith, I stepped away from my faith. I stepped
Yeah.
away from my parents. I stepped away from God. Um, I I I got into things that I knew were not right. I got into drinking. I got into some party scenes. Not ever into drugs, but into some other areas that I knew were not right.
Yeah.
But I never I I never got to experience. And I was like, let me experience this. And I I I I just I stayed. I got in things I shouldn't have.
Yeah, of course.
And so, and then that brought me back till that took me to 2010. And then 2010, I had to move back home with my parents, being 30 years old.
Yeah.
And that was, being a 30-year-old male, that was a humbling experience to have to call mom and dad, and I have to move back home
Yeah.
with them.
It's nobody plans on doing that at the age of 30, say, hey, I got to go back home. And that's kind of you know for me, I know the fact that I kind of feel your pain. I've had to do that at some point in my life as well, in my older age. So you 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 want to go out in the world and make a difference and do these things and say that I'm able to be self-sufficient, but at some point you go, crap, man,
Yes.
I gotta you gotta kind of like take that big lump in your throat and swallow that pride and go, hey, I gotta come back home. So kind of
Yes.
kind of
And
continue.
that was sick when I moved back home in 2010 at age 30. That was um that was a humbling experience, but that thank thank God I had Christian parents and loving parents that said, "Yes, come back home. Please come back home." And I
Yeah.
lived with them for 6 years, and that was another step. That was another walk by faith, because that was very hard for the first, I don't know, 4.5 years,
Yeah.
being back at home, living with my parents again, living by their rules, having to go with what they say and everything, because I'd been on my own for several years. And then 2012, I got back into church, and I got back into the right way of everything. And that's when I met my wife in 2013. We met at church, and we actually we were, I think it was last weekend, we were talking. We've been married, just married 4 years, and we've been together 8 years,
Yeah.
and it has been an amazing walk of faith
Yeah.
the last 8 years, to see where God had me, where I was at one point, and then God has brought me since 2000, the last, I guess, 10 years really. For personally, the last 10 years, I would never believe I would be sitting here on a live call doing
Right.
something like this, because, like you said, this is totally out of my box, totally out of the comfort zone of me. No, 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 no.
Right.
I am so introverted. This is new to me.
Yeah. But again, here's the thing about it, David. Um, when you walk by faith, right? Uh, there's a saying that goes along with it, right? Walk by faith, not by sight. So
Yep.
don't don't trust too much in what you're seeing. Trust in more in what every single step that you're taking forward. Now, kind of like what you've said, you've kind of went through. Um, going back home, figuring out how to reestablish yourself, walking forward,
Mm-hmm.
and then finding somebody in life to kind of help you be your partner, to guide you, and to be there by your side while you're doing all these steps. And then being an introvert, right? So here's the funny thing that I've kind of figured out meeting other people who are introverts. Um, when they start stepping out of their comfort zone, when they start testing the boundaries of who they are as people, they start to grow and flourish a little bit. And it's kind of like, have you ever heard about the bamboo plant? How bamboo plant grows? Now, bamboo plant takes 5 years to sprout from when it's planted in the seed, and you still have to care for it, and you have to water it, and people will look at you crazy going, what are you doing? There's nothing growing here. You spent all this time in nurturing the seed to get it to grow up, but once they start to sprout, they sprout so quickly and they spring up so high. So that's kind of like somebody who's kind of planted that seed, and it's been there, and the message that they want to start growing and sharing has been there underneath, nurturing, growing, getting watered, and at some point it starts to come up from the ground, and it starts spreading for people to see. Go, oh wow, that's incredible how they've launched out and got so uh, got so big, and started sharing who they are and what they want to do. So with what we're talking about here, I like the fact that you are stepping out of your comfort zone. You could have never imagined being here doing this, right? So
No. Oh.
but yet here we are, right? Here we are talking about what we got going on, and how you're learning these things. So let's talk about, of course, one of the things that kind of interests me was um, how you're starting to learn to first of all navigate social media and start sharing your message and spreading your message of wanting to go teach people about hope and faith and love and compassion and everything that pretty much that God teaches us. When we study the good book, and what he actually shows us when he humbles us and gives us compassion and his mercy and grace every single day that we get the opportunity to wake up. So tell us a little bit about your journey and what you want to learn to spread.
My journey. I was laid off from my job back April 7th, and I've always been a person of have to do something, have to be going. And when I was off, it felt like that was a perfect time, because I've always been kind of intrigued of watching YouTube videos, kind of not really. I wasn't too much into LinkedIn, but kind of watching people talk and doing stuff like this. But when I was off, it was like that was the perfect time because everybody asked me, "What's your hobby? What do you like to do?" I said, "I don't know. I've never had free time. I don't. I really don't. I don't have a hobby. I don't.
Yeah.
I've worked so many jobs that I've never had time to do something that I enjoy that helps me grow. And when I wasn't able to be at work, I was like, okay, well, I started following Russ Johns. I started following you. Started following other people on doing LinkedIn Live. I was like, ooh, there's a platform I could get my story out because me and my wife have been involved in Celebrate Recovery, and I've got my story out that way. But I'm like, well, we can't go. We're quarantined at home. I can't share my story anywhere else. Maybe, um, what's a way I could get my story out there with not going out going out to people face to face? What's the way I can get my story out to other people? And I think Karen Von Traeger is on tonight.
Yeah.
She was actually the launching point. Her ministry was actually the launching point for me to start this whole thing of getting my story out to other people. And since I was on with her, talking to her, I have actually had there were a couple guys at work that have asked me my story. Why am I not stressed right now? How am I making it through this pandemic and not stressed out or not freaking out? I said, hey, it's all God.
That's
God's
it.
beside me. I'm walking by faith. God's beside me. God's holding my hand. I'm all good. I'm not worried about it. I'm not stressing. And um, uh, that's actually helped me to be able to do this. Just
Yeah.
not to be at home, be centered at home, be able to be around when I'm around my family. When I can actually, I've realized in the last month, I know
Yeah.
for a long, like we talked about the bamboo,
Yeah.
um, going back to that story, I've known for a while I can be around my family and I'm okay to be around my family. But I realized this last month when I'm with my family and I'm at home, I'm okay to be at home
There you go.
because I've got people supporting me. And I think this is going to be talk, going further in my journey. Um, I'm not gonna, even when I can get back, I'm still going to be posting things and encouraging people on LinkedIn. And this is the only uh, social media I'm on. But I'm going to keep this journey going because I've realized a lot of people I've talked to, um, I have I have encouraged them to keep going every day, just to make it every day. And even
Yes. You know,
because people were talking. Oh, go ahead.
no. Well, I was just going to say
I'll get
that
on. I'll get
that
on.
yeah. So I was just wanting to talk about that point that I think everybody's story, everybody's journey has some kind of value. So here you are helping people out, sharing what you've done, sharing your past experiences about, hey, I've lived on the party side of life. I know what it's like to cross that edge and walk that line, right? And then to step away from faith, because I think that's something that's really important for a lot of people. Um, they start feeling guilty for stepping away from their morals growing up, things that they've learned as children, and stepping away and doing things that they know are I don't want to say bad or immoral, but they know that it's kind of counterproductive productive to what we learn as Christians growing up. So
Mhm.
you know, I get that fact that people step away and they start feeling guilty. Um, but I tell everybody, when you walk by faith, God knows that you're going to make these mistakes. he knows ahead of time that you're going to walk away. So he knows when to pull you back in. He knows when to send you the signs that, hey, it's time. You start figuring out these things. You start reading um, all the signs and indicators saying that, hey, things are changing in my life. I should go back to what I know. And it's times like these that bring people back to their faith. Um, so I tell everybody, if you've walked away, it's okay. Um,
Yeah.
don't feel guilty. Don't feel these things. That's what God's love and mercy is. That's why Jesus Christ died on the cross for us, so that we can be forgiven again. And, again, nobody's going to be able to be perfect. Nobody's going to be able to, um, you know, always walk that straight line. Um, that's one of the hardest things. That's one of the hardest things about walking um, the path of the righteous. You're always going to be tested. There's always going to be trials and tribulations put in front of you. You know, if that happened to the most perfect being to ever walk the earth, Jesus, all the time, what do you think that's going to happen to us? So there's always constantly going to be tests. There's always going to be all these things here. It's okay to fail.
Yeah, yes, it is. Yes, it is. I was in a group last night, and we were talking. One of the questions was talking about failing. I put just get back up, brush yourself off, and go again, because you're gonna fall all the time, and the only time you fail is when you stay down.
Yes.
When you stay down, you don't get back up, because there's been so many times I've been I've fallen, and I've been down, but I've got back up, brushed myself off, went again.
Yeah.
But every day,
Yeah.
I wake up every morning. There's there's been some days where I've been like, okay, I'm done. But I know what got me when I came back. What's one of the big things that's kept me back and kept me centered is, no, if I was to fall like I did back in 2005, it would be a much darker time for me, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I could come back.
Yeah, and
I don't
but
personally. I don't know if I could come back from that, and that's
yeah,
what keeps me. That's what keeps me knowing God has me in His hands, because He's kept me through my whole journey, and through everything I've been through. I'm just blown away every day by what I by what God's doing, because I'm like, how did I get here? Where did I where did I go? Where did I go? And I'm so thankful for everything. I look back on every time I share my story, I keep thinking, I'm like, wow, I'm so blessed to be where I'm at, and with my job, I'm blown away by it, because I never expected to have the job I have, and it's just every day I walk into that job, it's a job I actually love, and I
there you
thank
go.
God. I thank God I have that job, because He allowed me. He knew at the right time, in the right place, where I could be home in the evenings, and I could go back to church. I could be with my family. I, I could work on myself. I could
Yeah,
have a job where I can work on myself. I could work on my personal self through all this.
yeah, and again, I think it takes a lot of self work to keep and maintain. Just because you might be a born again Christian does not give you the does not make anything easier. In fact, sometimes it makes it a lot harder, because you start seeing all the things that could be immoral or could lead you down that path. So I feel you whenever you say you want to come home and work on yourself and make these sort of differences. So how is one of the ways that you're working on building your story up so that you can kind of scale it to the next level so that people can start finding you and start connecting and start hearing who you are as a person and what you have to share. So do you have any plans as far as like how you want to craft this message a little bit deeper, how you want to, instill a lot of your faith in what you're talking about in your message? So have these things that have you thought about yet about going forward?
I have. I still don't know. I still don't know where it's going to lead me. Really, I've put everything in God's hands, and whatever door He opens up for me, I'm willing to step through it. And if He closes the door, then I'll know that wasn't the right door for me to be through. And I'm just starting. I'm just taking that's going back to the whole night we've been talking about, that step of faith, and just saying, okay, God, where are we going? Where are we taking? Where are we going to go with this? And you lead me. You lead me through this, because if I make it about David, then it's not gonna be it's all gonna be about me, and I don't want it to be about me. And that's
Yeah.
definitely not why I got on here tonight, is to boast me up. I want to get on here to say, hey, we're going through all this pandemic stuff, all this crazy stuff, all this uncertainty time. Just lean on Jesus. Just lean on Him, and go with put yourself in His hands, and let Him lead your journey, because we don't know if we're going to wake up tomorrow. We don't know. We don't know one moment to the next what's going to happen to us. So wherever God leads me, wherever my journey takes me, I'm on, and let's go.
That's it, brother. That's the way to share it. Because
Let's just
again, I tell everybody, don't live for tomorrow. Do what you can do today, because again, just like you said, we're not guaranteed tomorrow. I don't think anybody out there can guarantee that I'm going to wake up. So I do whatever I can to go out there and kind of share the message of what we're talking about this evening with so many people. That's what I love doing. So this is kind of like what I love to share. I love to bring to my audience. All topics are never off the board. All topics are open for conversation. Talking about faith is no different. I think for a lot of these
and that,
conversations, it's an underlying tone for some people. Um, for some people, it's kind of touchy feely. I always talk about it anyway because I keep I keep this right here with me all the time. This is always
mhm.
in my office with me because I do a lot of self cleansing, self enlightenment in here. So I do that's why I like keeping a positive message and doing these things. So and it does take a lot of work. I do understand that as well. So kudos to you for even for getting this out there, because again, you're taking the same circumstances and you're turning it around and you're making it work for you. So even like Karen says, it's striving in using these things which were designed to destroy as the greatest source of success. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So using these things that most people would go, oh my gosh, it's just going to bring me down, turning it around and using it in your favor, because you know that people are there to help you along your journey. So I'm glad I'm being able to help you, kind of guide you along that way. That's part of what my journey has been as well, is just bringing people on and kind of giving them the path to walk down and say, here, let's talk about this. Let's talk about life. Let's talk about all these things that are all important to helping us grow as adults, as individuals. So let me just get a quick couple of shout outs to people who are watching along. So again, Jonathan's here. Karen, thank you. Ada, thank you. Ada's here. Marius is here as well. Mike Padurano, thank you so much, guys. Gosh, thank you guys for just coming along and dropping in the comments. And then I also have a couple other people on Facebook. So Miss Sushi's here. She's liked in watching. Eric, Becky McAllister, Gama Laos. Thank you, guys. Gosh, there's so many people watching along, David. They want to hear what we're talking about. And Yvonne, thank you. Yvonne Perry.
Oh my gosh.
So thank you guys for watching along and interacting with us. Yeah. So if there's anybody, yeah, go right ahead.
Yeah. I don't know if I know my parents are on tonight. Thank you for everything you've done for me, and just thank you for everything. John and Debbie Calfan, I think they're on tonight.
Yeah.
They're my in-laws. They're up in Salisbury, Maryland. So
Awesome.
I know my sister and brother-in-law are on. So it's kind of cool that they're on because I've never really shared this with my sister. So that was kind of
it's a surprise, right? Nah, but
I knew they were on, but I was kind of I think my niece and nephew were on, so I was kind of trying to step lightly around things. But
hey, but this is again getting to share this forum, and this is the thrill for me is having people come along and get to hear what we're talking about, and delving deep into what I consider the foundation for resetting yourself, and that's for me is building that. Here's the thing that I love, that what I've kind of done and built myself back up, right, is I've kind of like you, I felt I got into a dark place, someplace that I did not enjoy being, someplace that I knew I had to get out of. And the first thing that I relied on was my spirituality and faith and learning these things, and kind of reaffirming myself and reacquainting myself with the parables in the Bible, and studying God and learning these scriptures that I've known for a long time, but just reacclimating myself to them again, because I know that these are the things that I write down. Timothy 2:10 was one of the ones that I started using whenever I was kind of turning myself into, but there's so many, right? There's so many things that you can go find, and it's true. You know that the words that are in there, everything, it's the greatest book ever, and to not be able to, again, finding yourself in a dark place and not knowing where to turn, and then start turning back to God and Jesus, and getting reborn, and finding these things. These are all, I think at some point we've all come to that point in our lives where we wanted that, where we needed that, because again, I don't know anybody who's walked that perfect path. And if they haven't reached that point, well, guess what? They're probably heading that way at some point. Mm-hmm. So, we are all imperfect, but we are all human beings. We're all created in His image. So, I love sharing the stories about people who are refining themselves in faith and wanting to go out there and make a difference again. So I'm glad that you're doing this, because again, you're going to be doing it on Russ's show here in a couple of weeks as well. So
I had to kind of reschedule that one because I thought I was going to be back at work, and so I don't know. But yes, I will be on Russ's show, guys.
Yeah. So that's again, it's just but reaching out and sharing a message of love and caring and compassion, because that's kind of like what He's done for us. We all, as human beings, asked to be. I know I've asked to be humbled, just because I know that I wanted to change who I was. So with Him showing me the kindness and compassion and all the things, and giving my love and heart to my faith. And again, I tell everybody, if you're to walk by faith, you can walk by faith, whatever your deity is. I just tell you, if you're going to believe in whatever you believe in it wholeheartedly. Don't take half steps. Don't, half commit to what you're doing. Fully commit to it. And, I have a lot of respect for people who do that and share share their religion and their love for who they are as people and that sort of thing. So, yeah, let's talk about some of the things that you've had to, kind of the questions that I ask a lot of people, um,
Mhm.
in the times that we're living in now. So, what are some of the things that you've had to adjust to, with COVID-19 and kind of how's that kind of changed your lifestyle personally or with your career? So, how's that kind of affected you?
I've been at home. I've been at home every day. We still. I'm not going to say we stay at home because we don't, but we've quarantined with my family. I will say we've quarantined with my family.
Yeah,
We've stayed with we've had a lot of unexpected, awesome family time that I think was unplanned, unexpected, but it has given us more time to grow closer as a family through this and stick together as a family through this. And it's given me more time with my wife. She's still working. She's a school teacher. She's still working, but I've been home during the day with her, and we get more quality time. I've been able to work on myself. I've been able to. You said a great word I didn't think about. I've been able to reset myself, like cleansing my whole self out. So when I do get back to work, I'll be more centered. I'll be ready to go. I'll be rested because I've
yeah,
never had I've had vacations from jobs, and I'll be able to I'll be better at my job. And I've also last night I got involved with a mastermind class with fixed operations. I've been able to do some personal growth on that and start working for my job. So when I go back, I'm doing some training on my own.
there
So
you
when I
go.
go back, I'll know a little bit more than I did before, and I'll know how to better myself at my job and be an even stronger person at my job.
Yeah,
And
that's awesome that you're taking this time to use it to your advantage again. To again, kind of recenter yourself, learn a few new skills,
yeah,
and be prepared to go once everything is. Um, I don't want to say cleared that we can go out again, but again, we can start reacclimating ourselves into out into the public cautiously.
yeah,
Doing a lot, following a lot of the protective orders that are in place for, excuse me, for a reason. So, wearing your mask, your gloves, keeping your social distancing, those are all still good practices to follow. Um, Even going forward as they're opening up,
oh gosh,
businesses, restaurants, all those sort of things. Um, so I'm glad that you've taken the time and done that because I did that myself. I learned a lot of new skills. I learned a lot of new things being on quarantine and using this time to kind of um, build up myself with my show and then build up myself personally, just reinvesting time in myself and my family. And these are all blessings that I think were all something that we didn't see, but these are all the silver linings in life that we're
oh gosh, yes.
that we're getting to see right now. We're like, I know it's been bad. I know that people have lost money. I know that businesses have closed. I know people are losing their livelihoods, but there's also a good side to everything. So for some people, it's being able to, get reacquainted with family and spending that time and doing these things. So I do feel bad for the people who've had to suffer through the first part about not being able to open their business doors, and for some people losing their businesses altogether. But I also think it's also great for the people who've had the ability to take advantage of it and learn to spend family quality time, get to learn new things, and kind of prepare themselves for going into the new normal, what we're all going to be living in. Because again, we're all going to be going back out into society, but it's not going to be the same like it was before. So you cannot go into a restaurant and sit down with a party of 12. So these are all things that are kind of changing. So that's awesome that you're doing that. So let me ask you a few of the questions that I usually ask a lot of my guests.
Yep.
One of them that I've always asked. So once we get past all this and everything's going out there, have you thought of any plans about, creating your message into, say, like I don't know, in a video form, or writing it out, or doing some sort of thing so you'll be able to share it a little bit, maybe like share it out into men's groups or groups of people like that, and that sort of thing?
Yes. We before all this, I've been involved with Celebrate Recovery. I'm not sure if it's a Christ Center recovery group, and every week we're still meeting online, Zoom calls online, but I've been able to share my testimony there, and I plan to get this out more. Are you still there?
Yeah. Go right ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I plan to get it out there more. I don't know what avenue. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet. I just want to somehow get it out there more so I can touch more people, because I don't know when we'll be able to get back as a group. Maybe I've thought about maybe possibly jumping on LinkedIn and just posting a video of my story. I'm not sure what that would look like. I just plan to just keep encouraging, keep getting it out there, and keep talking to people, whatever possible way I can.
Yeah.
Just so I can encourage one person.
Yeah, I think that's at least taking those steps and keeping yourself out there and open is going to help a lot. And again, if you need help trying to get your video message, getting your video message out there, kind of reach out to me afterwards. We can talk about that and seeing about crafting that thing out there so you can start spreading it. And I love doing it because I love sharing. I love sharing this forum and love helping people grow. And that's part of your journey, is to help find people like yourselves who want to share that story. I got a young woman who I think she's still in high school. She's like 17, but she's wanting to start out there and reach her message and get it out there. And I get it that she's been young, but has the heart of a servant. She wants to go out there and share. And
awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So
that's awesome.
So you want
to at 17, I would have looking back at where because I turned 40 on Christmas, but looking back to when I was 25, if I could go back to 25 and not redo everything, but know what I know now at 25.
Yeah.
Oh, it could be different. I would have a different outlook. Anybody that's younger that wanting to get their story out there.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah. So
do it.
Shout out to Caitlin. So thank you, Caitlin. She's going to be on the show later on this month, but interesting story. Love the fact that she's trying to do this. And at such a young age, I get it. It's, I wanted to help her offer this forum as well, because I love the fact that people can reach out to me and start down that path. And if I can help them lead them down that way, why not? It's a beautiful way to talk to people and reach out and get people interested in what we're talking about. And again, I'm all about adding that positive message to people's lives. So last question, David, that I ask all my guests, and this one kind of is, I don't think it's morbid, but I think it does have to do with the circle of life. And this is why I call it that. So we're all born, we all know we're going to pass away. So I ask all my guests at the end of every interview, so when the book is done and said on you, and sunset is happening, what do you want to be remembered for? What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind in this earth?
I've listened to so many of your LinkedIn lives. I should sorry process this because I've heard it so many times. I think the biggest legacy I want to leave out there is don't be afraid to talk to people. Don't be afraid to just if you're having a problem, if you're having an issue, just talk to somebody. Just get out there and talk. Just take the step of faith, and just I just want to be remembered as someone that didn't. I don't regret anything I've done. I don't look back and think, oh my gosh, man, why did I do that? Because if I did that, then I wouldn't. Also, I was hoping that happened. That is great. That is awesome.
Yeah.
I just want to be married to somebody that got out there and just helped one person.
Awesome. So again, guys who don't know, who are kind of new to the show, I always do my dog with me. He does every podcast episode with me. Sometimes he gets more excited than other times. So that's kind of like my warning sign to go ahead and get everything out of here. So thank you, David, for coming on the show. I do appreciate you spending your time sharing your message with you. I love the fact that you came on here and we're able to talk about walking by faith. And again, I will reach out to you. We can kind of maybe craft your message a little bit more. Yeah. And everybody else, thank you again, guys. I do appreciate it. So tomorrow night, 7:00, I won't be hosting the show. Tomorrow night will be Wendy Gahulia. She's going to be the guest host for the first time on my show. She'll be giving Christy here. Thank you guys for coming on. Thank you, David, and thank you, Pudding, for making this a somewhat entertaining evening. So,
thank you, Pudding.
You guys have a great evening. Stay safe. Follow your good social distancing practices, and I won't see you again this Friday evening, 7:00, guys. So you have a great evening. Stay safe. And I'll talk to you on Friday night. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, David.
That was awesome.